You say, is there a positive intention behind your attempting to commit suicide?
Yeah.
And the person goes, no. I just want to be dead. There you go. And what would you get if you had that? Or what is the intention for being dead? To escape. This is an intolerable way of living. So there's the intention. Now, do you consider that a positive intention? Yeah, I get to escape all this crap. Good. There's the positive intention. Now you can work with it. Now, how do you work without it? I got to tell you a story. This is so funny. So I get a phone call. I'm actually in Santa Cruz, where I work very hard to be anonymous. I'm just this weird guy in a pickup truck that rides horses that comes into the town every once in a while. That's the way I want it. So more likely, Carmen will be recognized in Paris or Sydney or London than it will be in Santa Cruz. So that's just the way we keep it. Surprising, I get this call, British accent. Hey, I've got I hear you do, I read your stuff, you do really weird stuff, and I need weird stuff for my son. 13 months ago, he attempted suicide. He's 20 years old. And there's an interesting, the man actually says, he said, I don't have a problem with committing suicide if it's really a choice. But I have the impression this is an act of desperation. He didn't have alternatives. I said, I can work with you. So I said, what's the present situation? He said, well, nobody has talked to him or seen him officially in 10 months. There's a property, on the property, there's a big house where the family lives, and there's a small cottage where Charlie has now taken up residence. And he keeps it locked, and nobody's seen him. We've heard him out there. We notice if things disappear from the refrigerator in the morning when we come down and take a look. He's obviously made a day. So that's the state of play. I go, get me a key to the cottage. It was beautiful. It was the silhouette of the castle and the lightning and the thunder in Transylvania? It was one of those afternoons in Santa Cruz. It was about 5 o'clock. It's winter, heavy rain, storm. Perfect setting. Yeah, today's the day. So I take the key and I walk over and I put it in the door and I open it and I push the door. It's hard to push. I push hard. I hear all this. The floor is this deep in beer cans. I have months and months of drinking beer, just tossing. And I look into the room, and there on the other side of the room, over in the corner, is this, golem.
Yeah.
Long, lanky, filthy hair. The place smelled gross. And the only light is the monitor. He's on the net. Who are you? So I got good. Gets up and shuffles through the beer cans and point to a chair and sit down. He said, you asked me who I am. My name doesn't matter. I'm the guy who makes things happen. You couldn't even kill yourself successfully. That's how inept you have become. I'm here to make sure it works this time. And he's starting to back up now. I told a metaphor, which is kind of a pretty metaphor, about rainforests and lianas and how the seed drops, and then if it's lucky, it's negative heliotropic, which means it seeks darkness. Where's the darkness on the floor of a rainforest? The base of one of these beautiful trees. When it's achieved negative heliotracking, it flips to positive heliotracking, starts to wind its way up the tree to the canopy 150 feet above, where it will go through a flowering cycle and drop the next set of seeds, and this is a cycle of life. I told it very elaborately, very carefully marking out stuff. And I knew the kid was going to make it when there's this long silence, like 2 or 3 minutes. He's sitting there processing this metaphor. He goes, there's got to be a prayer in there somewhere. Oh, okay, this boy's ready to move. So I said, all right, Johnny, I'm coming back at the same time tomorrow. Decide how you want to end this, and we'll make it happen, because I'm the guy who makes things happen. And walked out. I came back the next day, no beer cans, clean hair, sitting there, waiting for him. And I walked in and he went, before you say anything, I don't want to die. I went, yes you do. You're just in denial. So what am I doing? Investing is not a bad way to think about it, Nikki. There's something else going on here.
You can
Look.
lead generate.
Exactly. This is good. This is the same as Nikki's.
Therapeutic leverage. Provocative approach to direct access to the unconscious.
It's true. This is a provocative approach, and I get direct access to the unconscious, and I'm speaking truth from his point of view.
Therapeutic leverage.
It's definite leverage. It's full leverage. Think about it this. Anybody who's split and somebody who's attempted suicide unsuccessfully is definitely split. It's part of them who wanted them to die, part of them went on. Augustine, I just got a phone call, man. I ran over here to tell you, finally, after all this hard work, they've offered me the vice presidency in the company. You know how I can see this as the next brilliant step forward in my career. I've watched this develop over the years, and it's just beautiful. I can see, but I have to move to Chicago. I have to leave Brighton behind. All my friends. What's the price of friendship? Is it worth sacrificing this group of people and my family now to go to Chicago? It's a crazy place over there with gangsters and stuff. Help me, Augustine. Now, an untutored friend will attempt to help. And what will such an untutored friend do? Well, it doesn't matter what he does, because I'll do the opposite. If he says, take the job, man, you can see how brilliant this move is for your career. My response, but blah, 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 blah. Or you flip it over and go, you can't buy a friendship like we have here. Screw that, you don't need it. Stay with your friends here. And what will the client do? But you don't see it, blah, 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 blah. And notice the representational system sorting. Kinesthetic, stay here. Visual, I see the brilliance of this move. I've watched this develop. I feel like I can't leave here. I'm friends with a price friendship. So whatever part you take, you are driving them for balance purposes in the other part. That means with a suicidal person, you go, dude, we can make this better. We can make a good life. That's criminal. That's criminal. You will drive them into another suicide attempt. You do that. So all this came about because the one place where you get this intention of the intention is where you get a no to the first intention question. That is there a positive intent behind your trying to commit suicide? No. Is there a positive intent behind your desire to be dead? Yes. Cool. We can work with that. And in the case I'm thinking of, I made a deal. If you carry out my instructions without question, unless, and the same rules of engagement I talked about first thing this morning, unless either it's unethical or it calls into question your health and safety. You can refuse. No other grounds for refusal. So I established really, as you said, strong leverage positions. Erickson was very famous for this kind of leveraging. So now I can go do this, go do this, go do this. So you give them a series of tasks. And they discover a world which was implicit but never expressed, where it is worth living. So they decide to live. But you make a deal. If in 3 months you still make a judgment that it's not worth living, I'll help you finish this. That's what I originally came here to do. This is a lot messier than what I came here to do. I just came here to make sure you die. And now you want to live. It's a real pain in the ass. I get paid by the hour, so I'll do it. Make all. All right.
Have you tested that?
Tested what?
Is it proven that balancing the...
Proven.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's quite important, isn't it? If you're going to say...
It's only a life.
Have a...
I know what you'll drive people to if you take the upside.
How do you know?
By cases which have happened with conventional therapists. I mean, a lot of cases. There are a significant number of cases where you go back and reconstruct what happened. And that's exactly what happened. Since I'm playing this part, you get to play the other part. Now, does it always work? Well, it has so far, but I do a lot of other things. So this is not a standalone piece. This is a piece for, as he correctly said, leverage. Now I've got leverage. What I do with it depends on my confidence, but yeah, this is the first move I would. I have a
Do you
lot.
go away from him scared, just in case?
What I like.
When you walked out, did you know he was going to be okay, or was
Oh,
it
sure.
you thought?
Yeah, all those responses were very clear. I came here to make sure you die. So I pushed him in the direction I wanted him to go. Like,
So if someone was trying to lose weight, you could then say, but surely you want to just be fat. Is that what you're saying?
you could, and it would be very interesting to provoke, because you'll see the unconscious come out. I mean, if you say that, you'll actually see a state shift, and you'll see signals of the unconscious, because that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, what Erickson used to do, when he'd say, all right, Alex, you come back here in exactly 1 week, and I want you to have gained 4 pounds exactly. Now, if you review his cases, the person came back and they weighed either 4 pounds more, exactly, not 3, not 5, 4. Or they lost exactly 4 pounds. Or nothing happened. And the nothing happened is very rare. Now, what's the point of telling them to gain 4 pounds?
Choice.
The presupposition that they have a choice. Yeah. This is a prescriptive environment.
It was reminding me.
Thank you. Thank you, people. Subconscious. Be more active. Control that mouth. Okay, does this make sense? This is a standalone piece to get leverage. What you do afterward is good.
So you're trying to highlight to them that they have a choice.
Absolutely. So by gaining 4, they demonstrate they have choice. By losing 4, they demonstrate they have choice. By doing nothing, they're totally blocked. Now you've got to stroke in a high performance state, break up the blockade, get things moving, get the signal set up.
Could I try to generalize and paraphrase that?
You could.
Yeah, now is what you're basically saying is if there is parts of
No, I'm not basically saying anything like this.
if there is parts conflict and you see
Do you
that
believe in parts?
I believe in the perception of parts.
What is the difference between being in the perception of parts and believing in parts? Yeah, I know. That'd be difficult. Let me take him off the hook for a moment. Maybe not. There has been for years, I think mostly in James's work, an injunction says stay away from that crazy thing that Grinder invented, that 6-step reframing, not called that step reframing, because it is an inherently disassociative process and it creates parts, it fragments your personality. My response to Tad and his group is, look, every time you open your mouth, that's true. Every time you open your mouth. None of that exists. And if you can't make the distinction between using distinctions for purposes of leverage or purposes of making a leverage position, then I think you ought to take up a new profession. Because every time you open your mouth, you're doing this. Parts are extremely useful as a leverage position until you start to believe in them. Then you're lost. These are distinctions which we make on the fly to create leverage position. Remember Archimedes in the book of the long lever. You can move anything if you get the right leverage. And we tie a knot in our handkerchief every time we make one of these. That's why every disassociation implies a responsibility to reintegrate. That's why every time you do parts work, you make sure at the end the person doesn't end up believing they really do have these things. Take that away.